Hi, today I'm focusing on zinc as my immunity boosting food. And one food that has the most zinc of all the different food groups is oysters. This jar of oyster is 60% of your daily value of zinc. But one of the first dishes I think about is, especially with oysters, is Hangtown Fry. So originally, the lore of this dish is that back in 1849, where you had the gold rush in California with the miner 49er, he struck it rich and went into town that's now Placerville, but back then it was called Hangtown because they had a lot of hangings, I guess. And he asked the local restaurant or bar, I struck it rich, give me a food that's the most expensive stuff you have. And oysters was imported or brought up to the mountains through San Francisco. Took a long time. Bacon was from the East Coast, and eggs were fragile and they weren't as readily available. So today's dish is Hangtown Fry, doing a classic dish, and salt and pepper. So one of the first things I'm going to do is pull out the oysters and kind of drain them on a paper towel, fry up some bacon, and then add the eggs. All right, here are the oysters that I've drained. These were considered medium oysters, but they're actually pretty big in my opinion. So this is roughly 6.5 ounces, roughly 200 grams of oysters in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bits. But what I'm going to do first is slowly cook off. This is 3 slices of bacon that I've cut into thirds. And I'm going to scramble or beat the eggs and add probably a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of heavy cream and salt to the eggs. And put together the Hangtown Fry, which is essentially a scrambled egg dish with bacon and oysters. Okay, the bacon, the heat is on and it's slowly warming up, but I'm gonna beat the eggs. This is 3 eggs, and I added about a quarter teaspoon to half teaspoon of ground or freshly ground salt or just salt. So just break up the egg yolk. Some people say you should beat the eggs 50 times. Some say you should beat it 100 times. Next, I'll add about a tablespoon of heavy cream, maybe 2 tablespoon and a half, and just mix it together. The heavy cream adds a little extra richness to the eggs. So as the bacon starts to cook, I'm going to finish beating this and set it aside. I'm cooking the bacon over medium heat to slowly brown the bacon and render out some of the fat. As the bacon is slowly browning, I'm moving the more cooked pieces off to the side where it's less heat, and the parts that still have little raw bits, I'm focusing on those. But I think it's at the point where now I could just add the oysters and cook that. And usually you cook the oysters about a minute or 2 on each side. Basically, you're just trying to heat the oysters through. Okay, the bacon is nicely browned. I left an area for the oysters to cook. It should be pretty quick. Depending on how hot it is, probably a minute or 2 on each side. I don't know if you could see it, but it's slowly curling around the edges. So I'm just going to mix everything together and add the eggs. Beat the eggs one last time. Pour it in. Since this is essentially a scrambled egg dish, you want to keep the eggs moving so it forms nice little curds. You don't want a big clump. I know some people do like an omelet, and it probably is a better presentation. It's almost there. I'll finish off the dish with a little freshly ground black pepper. And that should be it. Now I'll just serve. Here's the finished Hangtown Fry. This was bling bling food back in the minor 49er era in 1850s. So this was oysters, bacon, and scrambled eggs. Let's give it a shot. Oysters are good. They're tender. They still have their briny flavor. Matches well with the eggs and the bacon. So enjoy your high zinc oysters, and hopefully this will boost your immune system and while you enjoy eating it at the same time.